Hey guys, my name is Joe. Everyone say, hi Joe. 1, 2, 3. You can be a little bit louder than that. You can show a little bit more enthusiasm. 1, 2, 3. Nice. I heard that. I felt that all the way from the camera. Super excited that I get to share some messages with you all today. Obviously, this is kind of a different setup, a different situation. I'm a speaker. I speak in schools all over the country, and normally I'm on a stage in front of people live. So this feels, I'm not going to lie, kind of weird. But if I can be honest with you, the good news is that I'm kind of weird. And so there's like something that this situation and I have in common. I don't know if any of you are weird. Raise your hand if you have a slight weirdness to anybody. All right, yeah. We have something in common over there. I've been a card-carrying member of the Weird Club for many, many years, and I thought it would sort of go away on its own, but it doesn't. I'm weirder today as an adult than I was as a kid, and I know it because I do a lot of flying for this job. I'm in airports and in airplanes quite a bit, which means there's always like little babies on airplanes, and like 99% of people out there, the non-weird people, right? They can easily make a baby smile. Weirdo Joe, tough time making a baby smile. I'm always like, Gucci, Gucci, goo. And I usually get 1 of 3 responses, either A, B, or C. Yeah, that guy's got a restraining order. Don't ask questions. I'm just kind of weird. And one other thing that I've been trying out lately that's kind of weird is I've been trying out my guitar. Now, it's not real weird to play a guitar by any means, but this is something I've wanted to do for many, many years, but I always told myself that I couldn't do it. But about 3 years ago, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to listen to that voice. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to learn it. And so I want to share one song with you right now, and I want to see your musical genius. We're going to hold a little competition. I'm going to play a song that I'm almost positive that every single one of you know, and if you don't, the lyrics will be on the screen. Your teachers are going to be the judges. They are going to be listening for the classroom who can sing the most beautifully, right? It's about volume, but it's about tone. We don't want you screaming this, but we want you to sing. So that's my challenge to you. I'll play the guitar, but in return, you need to sing. Ready? Ready? Let's do it. I close my eyes and I see a world that's waiting up for me that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, and it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call us crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I dream of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. All right, thank you for going along with that. Real quick question, by show of hands, how many of you like sports? Let's see those hands in the air. Looks like we got a couple sportos in the room. Awesome. That is something that I was super into when I was in elementary school. In fact, ever since I was little, for me, it was football in the fall, basketball in the winter, and baseball in the spring and summer. My older brother played, my sister played, my dad coached. We were all in on sports. And I remember 5th grade specifically being one of my favorite years in my sports career. Why? Because every day in 5th grade, we would go outside for recess. And when we did, we would all get together, the guys, sometimes even the girls, and we would play football. And every day, I was the captain. Every day, I would pick out all the teams, and every day, there was a kid who would get picked last. His name was Chris Johnson, and Chris was not a very good football player. In fact, sports in general really weren't Chris's thing. So, whenever we were picking teams, whether it was on the field at recess or on the basketball court after school or even in class when we would need to partner up with people to do like group projects, Chris was the kid that was always picked last. Some days, not even at all. And I remember one day specifically where Chris is on my team. And the reason I remember it is because this was one of those games where it came down to the very final play. Imagine it. We're at like the 50-yard line. We're down by 4 points. We got 10 seconds left. We need the old Hail Mary. We need the Minneapolis Miracle. That's where I'm from, right? And so I walk up to the line, and I'm the quarterback, and I call out some play. I'm like, blue 22. Red 16, hut, and I look for my two best receivers, and they are flying down the side of the field, and I'm watching them go deep, and I'm about to throw them the Hail Mary pass when at the very last second, I see they're completely covered, and the rush is running right at me. So I'm juking left, I'm spinning right, when way downfield, out of the corner of my eye, I see and I hear this. Joe, throw it to me, I'm wide open. Guess who it is? Right, Chris Johnson. And guess what? He is wide open. If I throw it to Chris and he catches it, it would mean a big gain. And I see him out there by himself, and I think to myself, don't throw it to Chris, he's going to drop it. Look for somebody different. So that's exactly what I did. I looked for my next two best receivers. They are flying down the middle of the field. I'm watching them go deep. I'm about to throw them the Hail Mary pass when they too at the last second are completely covered, and the rush is even closer in my face now. So I'm spinning, I am moving Chuck Norris ninja style, getting out of the way when again, way downfield in the end zone this time, I see and I hear Chris, Joe, throw it to me, I'm wide open. Chris Johnson is now in the end zone. If I throw it to Chris and he catches it, we would win the game. And let me tell you, there was nothing I wanted more out of life in 5th grade than to win at games. And I have 2 seconds to make a decision because the rush is running right at me. And I look at Chris and Chris looks at me, and this is what I decide to do. No, and I throw it in the opposite corner of where Chris was. My friend Pete, out of nowhere, runs, jumps, makes an amazing catch, comes down, both feet in bounds. It was a miracle. We won that game. And I'm freaking out, right? Running down the field. Pete, that was the best catch ever. Pete's looking at me. No, Joe, that was the best throw ever. Everybody on our team is going crazy. Everybody's super excited. Everyone's super pumped. Everyone except Chris. I look over, and Chris is not celebrating with the rest of us. In fact, he's just standing in that same spot in the end zone, staring at us until finally I see him do this. And he walks back into school, and I'm seeing this go down. I'm with my buddies, and I'm like, what's his problem? He was on the winning team. Chris, dude, you won. Whatever, man. Whatever. And we all walk back inside, right? We didn't think twice about it. I was just excited. I mean, I had never been part of a play like that, let alone be the quarterback. So you can imagine I'm telling everybody, right? I'm telling all the students. I'm telling the teachers. I get on the bus. I start telling the bus driver. He's like, you're annoying. Sit down. Finally, I get home, and the first person I see is my older brother, Matt. Now, my older brother, Matt, 7th grade, very tall. Joe, 5th grade, very small. Every day, I would come home, and I would look at my brother, and I would say, you are big. Me? Not so big. Could I play football with you and your friends after school today? And my brother would always look at me and say, you're annoying, go away. But that day, I think I softened his heart because I told him about the miracle that happened at midfield merely hours before. I told him I was the quarterback who made it happen. And then I looked into his 7th grade eyes one last time and I said, could I play football with you and your friends today? And he looked at me and said, you're annoying, but you can play. Yes. We get to the field and it's just like we're at school. The 7th graders had captains. The only difference is that I wasn't one of the captains, but that made sense, right? Because I was with the 7th graders, and the 7th graders started picking out all the teams just like we did at school, except for the fact that I got picked last, and I remember going out for a bunch of passes that game and no one's throwing me the ball. No one's even looking in my direction until finally, near the end of the game, I'm standing wide open in the end zone doing this. Yo, dude, throw it to me. I'm wide open. 7th grade quarterback finally sees me. He finally notices me. He's got 2 seconds to make a decision. He looks at me. I look at him, and he goes, no. And he throws it in the opposite corner. And I walked straight home from that end zone. I didn't wait for my brother. I didn't wait for his friends. I was angry. I was frustrated. I thought, not even once. Man, I never want to play football with those guys again. Wait a second. And all of a sudden it hit me. I went, wait a second. If this is how I'm feeling after one game of this, how does Chris feel every single day? Every single day we leave this kid out. Every single day you're the one who's doing it. Every single day he gets laughed at. And then I started to get really angry, not at my brother and his 7th grade friends, but at me and my 5th grade friends, because every day we had opportunities to get Chris involved, but we never did. Why? Because I was so concerned about winning at every little thing that I was a part of. I sort of purposely never gave kids like Chris a shot. In essence, why we're here is because of those moments right there, those sidewalk moments, right, where you have to make a choice that not only impacts you, but a choice that impacts others. We get thousands of choices just like this every single day. Like maybe a younger kid in your school trips and spills their food in the cafeteria, and everybody starts laughing. In that moment, you have a choice. Or maybe you hear a rumor about somebody behind their back, and whether the rumor's true or not, you know you wouldn't like it if somebody was saying that about you, but in that moment, you have a choice. A buddy of yours looks at you and says, hey dude, let me cheat off your homework or copy your test or whatever it may be. In that moment, you have a choice, and it's these choices, the ones that not only impact us, but the ones that impact others, that truly make a difference. And that's why we're here today. I believe all of us will be remembered for those moments. In fact, that actually brings us back to a pretty important question that this whole talk is built around. How do you want to be remembered? Right? Because there's no doubt about it that whether you're in 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade, anywhere along the line, that your teachers, your class, your community, they're going to remember you after you go. And what do you want to be remembered for? Man, I meet a lot of 5th graders who say, I know, I want to be remembered as a good guy or a good gal or a hard worker or an awesome friend. And you know what I say to that? Awesome. That is awesome to want to be remembered for all of that. Unfortunately, we're not remembered for what we want to be. We're remembered for our choices. Another way to say it, quite honestly, is your legacy tomorrow will be defined by your choices today. I believe all of us will be remembered in one of 3 ways. You'll be remembered either as a difference maker, a difference taker, or what I call a difference faker. And in this talk, we're going to break down each one of those categories, starting with how I think Chris will always remember me. Let's jump back into that story. The next day, just like every other day, we were out on the football field back in 5th grade. And just like every other day, I was the captain. Jim Flaherty, buddy of mine, looks at me and goes, Joe, you're up, first pick. Who do you choose? Who do I choose? Yeah, who do you choose? I pick Chris. And my friends sort of looked at me like, what are you doing? And I said, don't worry about it. Chris is on my team today. And instead of not throwing Chris the ball, I threw it to him twice. The first time he dropped it, second time he caught it, but that didn't matter, right? What mattered truly at the end of the day was for the first time I could remember Chris Johnson walked back into our school with a smile on his face, with a little bit more confidence, feeling like he was part of the group. And I thought about it and I thought, what did I do in order to make that happen? Not pick him last. Throw him the ball a few times. You see, so often I think we get this idea of being a difference maker disguised with like being like a superhero. We think that in order to make a difference in the world, we have to do these big, big things. But I assure you, it's not about that. Being a difference maker is anyone who inspires greatness in others. I didn't say boy, girl. I didn't say tall, short. I didn't say popular or unpopular. I said anyone. And it's not about doing these big, big things. It's about the little things that all of us can do every day, whether it's opening the door for a substitute teacher as they're walking into your building for the first time, or maybe it's sitting next to or talking to a classmate that maybe doesn't have as many friends, or maybe it's in those moments when your buddies are giving somebody a hard time and you just say, hey, knock it off, or whatever it may be. All of those moments, as little as they may sound, they make a huge difference in the lives of your classmates. And if I could be completely honest, our world, your community, your class, your school needs more difference makers. So here's what I'm going to need from you right now. We're going to do a little bit of call and response. I'm going to say a phrase, and I'm going to need you to repeat that phrase nice and loud. Here we go. Repeat this. It's not about changing the world. It's about changing one person's day. Cool. Let's say it a couple times together. Here we go. It's not about changing the world. It's about changing one person's day. One more time. It's not about changing the world. It's about changing one person's day. And I'm just saying that our world, people, our classmates, they could use people to make their day. And if not you, who? And if you want to be remembered as a difference maker, that starts now. But we all know that it's not easy. At least in my experience, it's not. I mean, it's like one thing, right? In 5th grade to be a difference maker on a football field for Chris, but things got a lot harder when I got into middle school and when I got into high school. Sort of changed a little bit, and things got a little bit trickier, and the problems, well, they got a little bit more complicated, and the pressures got a little intense. I remember there was one kid who came into our middle school by the name of Josh Jarko, and Josh got made fun of a lot. He was new, and he was different, and he was kind of short, and he wore different clothes, and my friends didn't like different, and they didn't like who he was, and so they decided to make his life kind of difficult. They would call him names and push him around in the hallways and talk behind his back, and you know, the really interesting thing is Josh's locker was right next to mine in middle school, and in between classes when my friends weren't around, I actually talked to Josh, and what I found out is he was a pretty cool kid. I mean, he wasn't my best friend or anything, but he was all right. And I think about it, I go, yeah, you did that, Joe. You talked to Josh when your friends weren't around. When my friends were around, however, I never said anything to Josh. And granted, I wasn't the one calling him names or pushing him into lockers, but I also never did anything to stop it. And I remember at the end of that year that he came into our school, he transferred and he never came back. And I think about that kiddo all the time, and I think about the opportunity that I had to be a difference maker for him, and I didn't. I got stuck in the mix of everything else. You see, if school ended today, some of you would be remembered as difference makers, but there's also the second category that I would assume that some of you might be remembered for, even if you don't want to be, and that's a difference taker. Now, what's a difference taker? A difference taker is anyone who uses their words or actions to decrease greatness in others. Maybe it's kids who make fun of others or laugh if they get the question wrong, or start untrue rumors behind people's backs, or go out of their way to make life difficult for the teacher or the adults in your building. And here's my experience. Like, nobody ever wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I really want to make life difficult for others. I want to be remembered as a difference taker. And my guess is that being a difference taker is not the way you want to be remembered. Here's my ultimate guess. If we were to say, like, if school ended today, how many people would be in the difference maker category and how many people would be in the difference taker category? My guess it would be pretty similar. I'd say about 10% difference makers, about 10% difference takers. But then there's this third and final category, and that's what I call being a difference faker. And quite honestly, that's where I think most of us live. What's a difference faker? It's anybody who wants to do the right thing, but like in the moment of truth, they get stuck, probably because they're afraid of, what might happen to them. And if there's anybody who I can think about in my life who was a difference faker, it was me, especially in middle school and in high school, man. Like, think about that story with Josh. I mean, I actually liked Josh. I didn't like what my friends were doing. In fact, there was a part of me that wanted to say, stop, say something, do something. But I was so afraid of what might happen to me that I would stay quiet and stuck. It was like I wanted to be this difference maker and stop all the difference takers, but I would freeze and I would become a difference faker. And if I can just break it down right now for you guys, here's the thing. My guess is that most of you in this room, you don't start the drama or the hurt or the pain. And maybe just like me, it hurts you inside when you see other people who are dealing with that. You want something to change. You wish someone will come in. You hope that a hero kind of magically makes it go away. But wishing, wanting, and hoping isn't enough. There isn't going to be a hero that comes in and sort of saves the day. We need you. And so that's my challenge, is for us not to be perfect, but with some small choices, some intention, and a little bit of kindness, I think we can shift some of these numbers. I think we can make that 10% in the difference maker category and 80% in the difference faker category and switch them around. But that's not up to me. That's not really up to your teachers. That's up to each and every one of you. And here's my challenge. Do not let these words just be on a piece of paper or something that you said out loud. Turn them into action, because we can talk about being a difference maker all day long, but until we actually take those steps to do it, it doesn't really make a difference. And so that's my challenge, not to be perfect, but to be your best. And if everybody does one kind thing for one person every day, if we can be a difference maker for one person, I'm telling you, that legacy thing, how you'll be remembered, man, you will be remembered for a very, very long time as a person and as a class. And so that's my challenge to you, your class, and your entire school. Go out there, make a choice with your words and actions to build people up instead of bring them down. Be a difference maker and let your light shine. So how we're going to end today is I want to share a song, one final song, and it's all about being a difference maker. In fact, the title of the song is Difference Maker. I want you to notice the lyrics because it talks about how some kids can feel left out or alone, and how important it is for us to come in there to see them, to notice them, and to be their difference maker. Y'all, I just wish you nothing but the best this year. I know this is crazy times that we are living in, and in this world, we need difference makers more than ever. So if not you, who? And if not now, when? Before we do that song, let's end with one final I love your face. Get your hand in the air on the count of 3, push them towards the screen, give me a virtual high five and say, I love your face. 1, 2, 3. I love your face. See you guys. Well, isn't it amazing how a girl can find herself alone? Caught up in the darkness, looking for answers she's never known. Ooh, and isn't it amazing how this world can take a broken man? You can fill him with a fortune, let him ruin it with his own 2 hands. And he walks upon the hill from the rock there which he stands. He looks down at the crowd, he looks down at his hands, and he says, I am a difference maker. difference maker, oh I am. I'm the only one that speaks to him, and I am the friendliest of friends of him. He walks upon the hill